What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. It's good to see you all again tonight. I am having a little issue with my voice, so I'm gonna try to keep this as good as I can. I know I sound a little weird right now. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Hope everybody is doing well. What's going on, Tatiana, Exclusive Princess, Miss Bailey, Libby Peace, Judane? What's up? Hey, yo, to you too. This is gonna be a hard one because, like I said, I'm a little under the weather. Excuse me. We gonna make this happen anyway, though. I sound a little weird, a little stopped up. It's a little allergy thing. I don't really have allergies ever, but for some reason today, the last couple of days, I've gotten it. So, all right, people are jumping in and immediately just answering the question. Judame says, I hope you're keeping it short today for real so you can preserve your voice. Yeah, you know, I always say that. We're not going to be on long. Just 2.5 hours, probably. Libby says, hope you feel better soon. I feel fine. I just sound like a sick asshole. But I feel fine. So tell me what's going on with everybody while we wait for the room to fill up. What's going on, Aramis? What up to you too? What's going on, Tatiana? Say something to everybody. I'm sure everybody is on here. I literally just got home. I need to text my aunt to see if she can jump on. I'm gonna do that actually while I'm talking to you guys. Hold on one moment. I didn't get a chance to talk to her today because I've been busy all day. Let me stop sniffling into this phone. Into this microphone. Junk food vegan, what's going on? I feel fine. I just sound bad. But I got a little glass of wine. Took a bunch of vitamin C. We gonna make this thing happen. I was gonna do the show at 11:30, but then I remembered that I hate getting up early in the morning, and I thought it might just even be better to do it a little bit later because it might give everybody a chance to get everything they need to get done, and people who don't want to get up early to be able to see the show actually, you know. So I think depending on how the turnout is and how everybody feels about it, we might just move it to 7:30 on Sundays instead of 11:30 in the morning. In theory, 11:30 in the morning is great, but in real life, I'm not a morning person at all. What's up, Willow B? What's going on with you? Little wine never hurt nobody. You know it. Take another swig real quick. That's some good wine right there. Exclusive Princess says, this time is good for me. I'm West Coast. That's what's up. I make my office hours later in the day on purpose, too. It's my aunt. She just got back to me. I'm going to tell her people asking about you. All right. So we'll get started here in a few minutes. Give everybody a little bit of time to come in. If you guys could, shoot your boy a like when you come into the room. That way we can get more people to come into the room. Brandon Clark says, you going to talk about the subject you said you were going to talk about or not? Brandon, I need you to calm down, bro. I need you to, I'm going to need you to take your foot, put them on them brakes, and pump them joints once or twice. I need you to pump your brakes, brother. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm waiting for the people to come into the room. Just be patient. We're going to have a nice conversation tonight, like always. But you don't have to disrespect me in the chat like that, though. I'm just messing with you, Brandon. I mean, I'm not messing with you, but I'm serious. But yeah, we gonna make it lighthearted. Yeah, we gonna talk about it, brother. Let's give everybody some time to get in here, though. Andrew D, good evening to you too, my brother. Good evening to you too. Brandon came in here talking crazy, didn't he? Brandon came in, nigga, you gonna talk about the damn topic that I came here to look at or not? Otherwise, I'm gonna go watch goddamn Friday on Netflix. Trying to see another day. Calm down. Brandon. Word for the day is calm down. Brandon, I want you to get your ass up, go out, and calm the hell down. Word for the day is calm the hell down. DOWN. I'm clowning you, Brandon, but it's all love, bro. Yeah, Brandon, you need some wine, bro. You need some wine. Here you go. Bam. Wine. Brandon, come in here, tell me, Brandon, why don't you just fly down or whatever? And I just hop out the chair. You can run the show, bro. You got it. It's all you. I'm just messing with you, brother. Thanks for coming into the show tonight, Brandon. Thanks for jumping in the chat, man. I appreciate it, man. All right, so if you guys will give me 1 second, I'm going to go blow my nose real fast, and then we're going to jump right into this topic. So give me 1 second. All right. Junk food vegan key was getting hood on Brandon. See, y'all don't, y'all only see the cool, calm one most of the time, but see, y'all don't know. I grew up in the hood. It's because I live amongst the whites now. We all got that. All black people got that double-edged sword. What Dave Chappelle said, we all speak how we talk around our friends and we speak job interview. All right. So let's jump into this conversation, guys. Ricky Bobby says, damn, Brandon, he kind of went in on you for a second. I ain't go in. I'm just messing with him. John Seth says, cheers from Norway. Hope you are all well. Red Ryan here, too. Good to see you again, Fitz. It's good to see you again, too, John. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you as well. All right. How many of us are in the room? There are 14 watching now. We only have 8 likes. Come on, guys. Do your boy a favor and hit the like button real quick. It's free. It's free. It don't cost nothing at all. It costs absolutely nothing to hit the like button. Hit that like for me. Come on, can we get at least 14 likes since we have 15 people watching? I'm out here soliciting for likes. What Smoker say? Break yourself, fool. Break yourself for them likes. Come on now. I got that from my man O'Shea Duke Jackson. My aunt said she may jump in here in the chat. She a little busy. She got stuff going on. All right, so we talked last on XJW. What was that? XJW Thursday. We were talking about, what was that topic? What was that topic? I think I've forgotten the topic already. Let me look it up. Speak your truth no matter the consequences. And we were talking about, we had a small little conversation in the chat where we were talking about whether or not it was okay to speak about things like what we speak about as XJWs if you have family. And there was a person in the chat that mentioned that he doesn't do what I do out of respect for his family. And at a certain point in the conversation, my aunt messaged me and said that it may be necessary for you to reintroduce yourself to your parents. And this was something that I had never really thought about before. But we all said, hey, that's a topic for a whole nother conversation. And so I think we should have this conversation tonight. An interesting thing is that as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and I think I touched on this the other day, but we'll start the conversation at this point and then we'll go from there, is that we as ex-JWs know our family members who are current Jehovah's Witnesses. The issue that I have with the organization in general, and the thing that has happened that happened to me in my own family with my ex-wife, and something that I learned from that experience, is that people who are in the organization, whatever age they go into the organization as, however their mindset is at that time, and this is just my opinion, I may be wrong, you can tell me what you think, whatever their mindset is at the time that they go into the organization, as far as brain power, question asking, learning new things, I think that generally they tend to stay in that place. They don't grow as much as people because they are in an organization that doesn't really allow for a lot of growth as a person outside of the context of what they want you to learn. And me being someone who always reads, I read a lot. And even in investigating the Bible, I've read it several times. And it's not that I think everything in the Bible is wrong. I don't think that. There are some things I disagree with, and there are things that I question. And I think that it is incumbent upon any human being that has the ability to reason and question for that human being to reason and question. And if you can ask a question, you should be able to get an answer to that. I don't believe there should be a question that I can't get an answer to. I'd rather have an answer a question that can't be answered than an answer that can't be questioned. And that was my issue with the organization. I felt like anytime I asked a question, the question could be viewed as an inappropriate question simply because it was a question, not based on the context of the question, just the fact that it was a question that had a view of your questioning, so that it's something you shouldn't do. So that question you shouldn't be asking that question. That was my issue. Now, how that relates to the topic. As ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, we know who our family members are and exactly how they think. And we know exactly what their views are. But when my aunt made that statement, I realized that she was right. Because on the converse of that, we have to remember, in those people's eyes, they've known us for a certain amount of time, and then something happened with us, and they don't know what it is. And now everything that they thought that they knew about us is completely wrong. And everything that they thought that we thought about them, in their mind, is completely wrong. I even had times where my ex-wife even said the same thing to me. When we would talk, when I would go see my daughter, I would question things and I would ask her questions, and she would literally say, "I don't even know who you are anymore." But the interesting thing was, I knew exactly who she was, and I knew exactly who my parents are, and I know exactly how they all think. Sean Sway says, to think that they think they know you still, they obviously never did. Now, see, that's what we're here to talk about. Thank you for that question, Sean. Well, thank you for that statement, Sean. Here's a question. Is that a fair statement? Is that a fair statement to say, to think that they think they know you still, they obviously never did? And that's something that people, as XJWs, we will say that a lot. You thought you said you know me, you never knew me at all. We have to remember, though, that very well may be an unfair statement for us to make toward them. Because think about this now. Let's just say you were married to somebody and you guys thought the exact same way for 20 years, right? And then one day, one of the people in the marriage starts to think differently. Now, the other person is just used to them thinking the same way for the last 20 years. And now all of a sudden, this person has this whole new mindset. Would it be fair for the person with the new mindset to say, well, you never knew me at all then? No, it wouldn't be fair. Because the other person is going to say, well, yes, I did. I've known you for the last 20 years and you thought this way. And I knew who you were then because you thought that way. Now you think differently. And I don't know who you are now, but I knew who you were then because that is who you were purporting to me that you were. You were telling me that everything that I believed and that you believed, that was what you actually believed. And I had to believe you. And so I knew you as that person. Now you believe completely differently. And I don't know who you are now that you believe differently. So it's not fair for us to say at this point, well, you never knew me at all. That's not fair. That's not a fair statement. That is not a fair thing for us to do if we are in fact trying to be fair people and create some type of rapport with our family. We can't just say, oh, you never knew me at all because you don't accept me now. That's not fair. That's not fair to them because they knew who we were. They don't know who we are now. So, Sean, while I appreciate your statement, bro. I'm glad you feel cool. My issue with that statement is I don't think it's a fair thing for us to place upon them. In order for us to heal these relationships, we have to be able to look at things not only from our perspective, but from the other person's perspective. Therapy. Hey man, I'm telling you, I've learned. I've lost a whole lot of money, and I've been through a lot of BS monetarily, but I have learned a whole lot from therapy. And this doesn't just go with us. This goes in all of our relationships. If we want to heal these relationships with our families and loved ones, we have to be able to think from their standpoint as well as our own. We can't only think from our side. We have to be able to empathize with them and think about how they feel as well. Now, for me, that was difficult because I didn't care about how they felt. I was all in my feelings about how I felt because of what I felt they did to me. Right? And that doesn't just apply to the organization. In lots of different aspects of relationships in my life, I felt that way. With my family, I was unable to let go of the things that I thought they had done to me in the past that had I was more willing to not forget about it completely maybe, but at the very least to forgive them for the things that I thought they did to me, then I would have been able to heal that relationship a long time ago, and I wouldn't have wasted 10 years. Now, when I say we have to be able to empathize with them, we're going to have to understand, or we may have to understand that we are dealing with people who have known us a certain way for our entire lives almost, for me anyway. First 25, 26, 27 years of my life. And I know that sounds young, but 25 years is a long time. That is a long time. Especially if you've been the same way for all 25, 26, 27 years. That's a long time, bro. And if someone has known you to be the exact same way for 25, 26, 27 years, that's a long time. So they're going to base your relationship with that person is going to be based on the behaviors that you've exhibited those last 25 years. So we can't just expect them to say, okay, you've been this way for a long time. Now you believe completely differently. It's all good, I accept you. Now that's something that I would do now. Being someone who has left the organization, if someone were to think a certain way for a long time, and I've loved that person, and they tell me, well, I've thought this way for the last 10 years, but I think this way now. I have a whole new belief system. The thing that we talked about a long time ago, and I said I didn't think that was right. Now I think it's right, and here's why. Then going through what I've gone through in this organization, at this point, yeah, I would totally understand what I would understand them and love them the exact same way. I would, but it's only because I've gone through it and I know what it feels like to have someone not be there for you just because you think differently than you did before. Sean Sway says, great positive outlook. Makes sense, Fitz. Kindness always prevails. Now, I don't want you guys to think, I don't want you, Sean, to think I'm just talking about going around being nice and smiley just for the sake of being nice and smiley. That's not what I'm talking about. Because there are some times where you have to just be like, you know what, I'm going to have to, even with my family now, my father keeps saying, hey, we're going to get together, we're going to get together, we're going to get together. We're supposed to have gotten together twice now for lunch, and it still hasn't happened yet. And so this last time I talked to him, he sent me a text in all caps, hey, you can count on it. We're going to get together next week. And I said, all right, I'm looking forward to it. It might happen and it might not. I'm not holding my breath. I love him, and I hope we do. But he's already told me we was going to do it twice, and he stood me up twice. So at this point, yeah, I'm still going to be, cool with him, but I'm not going to be getting my hopes up. Like, yeah, I can't wait to go see my dad. It might happen and it might not. So I kind of have to be like, all right. So yeah, I'm going to be kind to him, but I'm not saying to be kind to the extent where you're going to set yourself up for failure. Lady Brown says, listen, you must be patient with yourself. You are just beginning to know the you and the truth you are walking in. It's going to take time for them and you. I agree with that, Lady Brown. It does take time. It does take time. It's going to take a lot of time. It took me a while to know myself and know who I was after I left the organization. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. When I left the organization and I started having all these new thoughts and all these new questions, it took me a long time to figure out why I was thinking that way. Why was I questioning everything? What was the point of me questioning everything? What was I trying to find out by asking all these questions? It took time. Libby P says, fear freezes people. Fear does freeze people, but fear is an illusion. And I've learned that. I've been afraid of a lot of things in my life. And a lot of things in my life, a lot of that fear has stopped me from doing a lot of things that I've wanted to do with my life. It wasn't until I got to a point where I stopped being afraid to do things that I started to make the changes in my life that I wanted to make. I've been through enough stuff, losing my family, losing my extended family, losing my business, losing all my stuff, living in a car for, several years. Fear does freeze you. But once you get to a point where you're not afraid to lose everything, fear isn't that big of a deal anymore. I can honestly say now, I know that no matter what happens, I'll be okay. Because I've been homeless for 2 years. I know I'll be okay. Tatiana says, I can only speak in a very general sense since I was an adult. I was an adult, I'm assuming she meant convert, with no family inside. But when I joined the cult, my values, my personalities, my likes, dislikes, and beliefs changed. And my family had no clue who I was. When I left, I went through another transformation. And yet I was not the same person I was pre-cult. My family, friends, and everyone has had to bear with me while I become myself, while I come into myself. And that's a very valid point. That's exactly what I'm saying. We are transforming, and it's unfair for us to just expect these people who haven't had the ability to love someone unconditionally and forgive someone over and over again, no matter what, even though they say they do, but they really don't. It's unfair for us to think that they can just accept us being this entirely new person. I would, but they have an issue with that. So what we have to do is get to a point where we can say, all right, do we need to have a conversation so you can know how I feel and how I think and who I am? AKA Perez says, did you ask your father why he's had to cancel twice? No. No. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to allow him to do whatever he needs to do to get ready to do whatever he feels like he needs to do. All right? I've had an issue lately with wanting things to happen on my time. And it's the same with this situation with my father and mother. In my heart, I want this situation to be fixed now. Because I love them and I miss them. But I have to be patient. Either the situation is going to resolve itself and then we can come together and have a conversation about it, or it's going to continue to be the same way it is. Now, in my heart, I don't want it to be the same way it is because I love my parents. I want to fix it. I'm a fixer. I'm a person. I like to fix shit. Something breaks in my house, I go fix it. You know, for the last 10 years, if my girlfriend had something that broke in her house or her car, I would be the one to fix it. I'm not going to let some other dude fix it. It's nothing for you. I can fix it. I'm a fixer. But this is not a situation that I'm presently in where I can physically do something to cause a situation to be fixed. And that's not a position that I'm used to being in. I'm used to being in a position where something is wrong. I can do this, and this, and the situation will be fixed. That is what I'm used to. And in this situation, it's not something that I can do like that. I have to wait. I just have to wait. So I'm not going to talk to him or ask him why he's not doing what he's not getting with me. Monica Landrum says you're doing all you can by making yourself available and open. That's all I can do. What's going on, Truth Seeker? John Seth says a lot about who are real people. Some of us, all we needed was forgiveness, and here we are discussing how we can forgive them. I wish they knew that and us. Let's talk about that for a second. You know what, John Seth, that's a very interesting statement. But you know what? I want to unpack that statement, and I want to ask you something. I want to ask the group something about that statement. Just give me 1 second. I need some more wine. We gonna talk about this today. Cheers. Oh, it's up there. Cheers. We're gonna talk about this today, guys. Now let's look at what John Seth said. John Seth says a lot about who are real people. Some of us, all we needed was forgiveness. And here we are discussing how we can forgive them. I wish they knew that and us. Now, let's look at what I said earlier about being able to be empathetic to someone and think from someone else's perspective. This is something that I've become, that has come new to me. I've been a very open and empathetic person, but going to therapy has made it A whole lot more. Now, as John says, we are here discussing how we can, all we needed was forgiveness. And here we are discussing how we can forgive them. John says, what I try to say, that they didn't forgive us, and to cope with that, we have to forgive them or not forgiving us. No. Let me allow me to say what I'm trying to say. Forgiveness in this situation is a two-way street. And here's why I say that may be the case. We have to think from their perspective too. Now, let's say, take me. I was in the organization with my mother for 25, 26, 27 years. I can't remember these. It's somewhere between 25 and 20. I'm pretty sure it's 25. What if they feel betrayed? What if they feel betrayed? We are so caught up in how we feel about it. And we have the right to feel the way we feel. We really do. We honestly do. Everyone has a right to their feelings. You can't tell somebody that they are wrong for the way they feel. It's one of the things that everyone has a right to is the way they feel. Okay? But what if they feel betrayed too? What if in their heart, their heart is broken because they feel betrayed, that someone that they knew felt the exact same way and that they shared the same interests and concerns and loves. Now that person doesn't feel the same way, and it crushes them too, the same way it crushes us that they don't feel the same way about us. What if they feel the same way? What if they feel like we should, they need something from us too? We need forgiveness from them because we're doing what we feel is right. They need forgiveness from us because they're doing what they feel is right. Where do those two roads intersect? I'm doing what I feel is right by abiding by what the Watchtower says, even if we disagree with it. I'm doing what I feel is right because I disagree with it and I think it's wrong. So we're here. I need forgiveness. But we're way over here. Where's the forgiveness going to happen? How's it going to happen? Who does what? Who says something first to say, I want to heal this relationship? I want us to heal this relationship. Who takes the first step to say, I know how you feel and I know how I feel, but we can still have a relationship? Libby P says, I know my brothers-in-law felt betrayed when I left and divorced their brother. They really do. They believe that they are doing what is right in God's eyes, but we know that it's because they are brainwashed. John Sell says they feel betrayed because you didn't force yourself to follow something that your conscience didn't allow you to. Monica Landrum says it's like if a person is sick, you can't be angry with them for being sick. Lady Brown says healing may begin with acceptance. Monica Landrum says only the healthy one can see that the relationship needs healing. John Seth says, do I betray my family because I don't have the heart to shun someone or isolate my son from a normal upgrowing? Well, if you feel that that's something that you should not do, then you would be betraying yourself by doing it. So no, I would say no. And I see, that's the thing too. A lot of times you have to think about the love you have for yourself. While I hate that I took 10 years to reconnect with my family, with my father and mother, at the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. And I thought I was protecting myself and protecting my feelings. I felt much better after I just let go and talked to them. But a lot of times we get in our emotions about things. It's easy for us to get upset and get into our emotions. And sometimes you just need time to sort out your feelings. And then sometimes you look back at a situation and say, well, it really wasn't what I thought it was. It's something that can be worked out. And that's the only reason why I was able to even talk to my father and mother, because I thought, actually, it's something that we can talk out. It'll be okay. I was a little bit more upset than I probably should have been. Monica Linden says, I go back and forth at being really hurt and angry at my parents, but in the end, I always just feel sorry for them because they're not living their lives. Great Dane, how you doing? But here's the thing too with that, Monica. At what point, see, this topic is going to lead to a lot of different conversations, which I'm glad we're doing this. At what point who gives us the right, Monica, to say they're not living their lives? Because from their standpoint, we're not living our lives the right way. We're not doing anything right. They look at us and say, you think you're living your life, but you're not, because you're not doing what Jehovah says to do. And then we're looking at them and says, you're not living your life because you're just doing what the governing body says to do. We're back at this. We're back at this. Where's the middle ground? Where's the middle ground? Truth Seeker says we are all victims of our surroundings and group influence until we start thinking for ourselves. Not easy to do. It's not easy to learn to think for yourself. But we don't have to play the victim either. I cannot stand a victim mentality. Alicia Schaefer says, absolutely they feel betrayed. To a JW, they feel like we are in the wrong. They are famous for saying, you made the choice to leave Jehovah. Come back to Jah. Yes. A.K.A. Perez says, I reached out and wrote to a friend that I lost contact 30 years ago. We separated on bad terms. She replied, but assumed I'm still a JW. She is very fanatical. I just replied to her. The little engine that says, isn't it about forgiving oneself? Yes. John Seth says, well, anyways, I have forgiven my family because I don't have the energy to jump into conflicts. And I have kids. And I try to make the best of the shunning. John, in your situation, who is shunning who? I'm not really sure. Could you clarify and let us know who is actually shunning who in your situation? Wendy Sloan says, yeah, no poor me here. No. Sometimes, one thing I've always said is, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. Just be prepared to deal with the consequences of your actions. Great Dane says, I sent you an email regarding your last video. Please read and respond if you choose. I haven't checked my email today. I've been really busy today, Great Dane, but I will totally check it and get back with you. But yeah, it is about forgiving yourself. I felt really guilty about a lot of things in my life. I felt guilty about a lot of things in my life here recently. Monica says, I guess you're right. They are living the life that they chose. And that's at the end of the day. Isn't that what we all want to do? Don't we all want to live the life that we want to live? Regardless of what someone else thinks. It's unfair for us to say they're not living their lives. And we're trying to save you. People have different religious views. One thing I've learned here recently is that you don't have to have the same religious views to be able to love somebody. You can both think different things religiously. And I know the Bible says stuff about being unevenly yoked. That I don't think that's true. I think you can allow it to cause a problem if you want it to, but it doesn't necessarily have to. You can love somebody and they think completely differently. You don't have to think exactly the same in every single aspect of life to love somebody. That's unfair. That's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. It's very rare that two people agree on every single thing in the world. But the fact that you disagree and are able to talk about it with one another and have an interesting conversation is one of the things that makes your relationship attractive with someone. You can say, oh, you don't think the same way? And they say, no, you don't think the same way? No, why? And you talk about it. And then you have an amazing debate. And then you go off and you do something else. You know? John Seth says, my family is shunning me, but since I have a kid, they are liberate so they can see him. But I pretend to positive to the truth. So if I would tell them the real truth, that liberty would be gone and my son won't have the family anymore. John, I'm going to ask you to rewrite that because I don't understand what you're saying. Libby P says, I help people live the life they want when they are seeking a new life. Okay. Monica says, it's easy to get caught up in the anger, and that is just us losing more time. When we forgive, we are helping ourselves to heal and move on. That's a very, very interesting comment, Monica, and that's exactly what the whole point of me going to therapy and learning some of the things that I've learned. I went to therapy for other reasons, to improve my relationship with someone I was seeing, as well as to heal the relationship with my parents. And letting go of the anger was the only way that I was able to actually even talk to my parents. Great Dane says, 25 watching, 16 thumbs up. If you choose, please add your thumbs up. Thank you. Thanks for helping us out, Great Dane. Come on, y'all. Like the video. We having a great conversation here. Like the video. Share that video. Subscribe that mug. I am not Brandon Clark. Never have been, never will be. If that is your thing, you go right ahead and be that. But as for me, negative. I only like women. The only thing a dude can do for me is point me in the direction of some pussy. So that would be a resounding negative. Okay, John Seth says, rewrite. My family talked to me so that they can be in contact with my 12-year-old son, and I play positive to JW so that they can continue that. Okay. I understand that. What you clapping for, exclusive princess? You clapping about my last statement? Oh shoot, that boy crazy. Are you gay? No, Brandon, don't look. People, you never know. Somebody might, just want to ask. That's fine. You can ask whatever you want. I'm just gonna tell you, hell to the no. But look, man, that's John. What you're saying too is exactly the same thing that I'm going to have to do with my family. I'm not going to be able to be real with them about how I feel about the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, because if I am, it's going to ruin the whole thing. We're not going to talk. We're going to be done. So I'm going to have to play positive. They in the back of their minds know that I don't really care about that organization. They know it, but I don't have to constantly reinforce it. I don't have to keep. Excuse me. I don't have to just keep saying. I don't have to just keep saying over and over again. Y'all are brainwashed. Y'all are brainwashed. Y'all are brainwashed. I don't have to keep doing that. They know how I feel, and if they know how I feel and accept it and still want to talk to me, then that's good. John Seth says, because they are all he have. My ex-wife is not from Norway, so her part of the family he has little access to. You gotta do what you gotta do to be to keep your family around. If you really want to have them around, then you're gonna have to do what you have to do to make it work. And that's how I feel with my family. I could break down everything I've learned about the organization over the years to them. I wouldn't have them in my life anymore, but I would have the satisfaction of knowing I told them about the organization. But what is that going to accomplish toward my ultimate goal of having my family back in my life? The question that I think sometimes we have to answer is, do we want to do right or do we want to be right? Which one is more important? And in my situation, being right was less important than doing what I thought the right thing was, which was whatever I needed to do to heal that situation. And that goes for other situations too. I have a tendency to want to be right all the time. I always want to be right. And sometimes it's not about being right. It's about doing right. Therapy, man. Therapy. I'll tell a person in a minute, if you're thinking about going to therapy, go, because that junk will help. Just don't get your car repossessed in the process. This is a conversation for another day. Monica says, I'm in the same boat as you guys. If I tell my people the truth about what's in my heart, I won't get the little bit of time I do get when they call to ask about their great-grandkids and the weather. Truth Seeker says it's all about compromising. It is. Sometimes we're going to have to compromise our ability to say the shit we really want to say for the ability to have the shit we really want to have. You got to pick your battles. Sometimes it's right to fight. And sometimes it's better to just let that one go. You know what? That's not one I need to fight right now. So what do we do? How do we reintroduce ourselves to our families? I mean, what in my situation, them meeting me or seeing me for the first time in so many years, I'm sure they didn't know who I was. Now, John Seth says doing right can sometimes mean continuing being a victim, while being right can lead to go on with life because they will continue to hurt us. Sometimes the best thing to say is to say nothing. Just smile. Alicia Schaefer says, I've learned a lot about acceptance since leaving the cult. Would never tell my JW family how to live, but they can't do the same. It's their way or shunning. John Seth says, I still have to hide in the bathroom when the doorbell of my mother rings because it's not allowed to have me there. Monica says, where I draw the line is going back to the Kingdom Hall. I just won't do it. Me either, Monica. I am not going to do it. I was so hurt when my father offered to come up here every weekend if I were to go back to the Kingdom Hall. That is emotional blackmail. It is. That's being very manipulative too. John says doing right doesn't necessarily mean continuing to be a victim. Doing right can mean doing what's right for you and at the same time doing what's right for them. Being a victim isn't the right thing to do in either of those situations. But you can talk to them and say, hey, we can talk without talking about that. And if that's something that they can do, then you've set yourself where you need to be to have what you want, and they are where they need to be to have what they want. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a victim. Sometimes you may have to love your family from a distance. You might have to say, hey, I love you guys. But in your mind, you have to say, I know I can't be around you guys that much because of the way you guys act. I can only take it for a few minutes at a time. And if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. I love you, but I'm only gonna be able to hang out with him about 10 minutes at a time, and then I gotta find some excuse where I need to go, because I can't stay more than 10 minutes because it's gonna piss me off, right? So, how do we introduce ourselves to them again? That was what I was talking about a moment ago. Do we just go to them and say, hey, this is me. This is what I believe. I believe you're wrong. Or can we show them more of who we are by just being able to sit down and having a conversation with them? Now, I know that's not always possible. It's just not. It wasn't possible for me for a while when I first told my parents I didn't want to go to Kingdom Hall. They didn't want to talk to me for a while. I don't know if they'll admit that or not, but I'm pretty sure it's true. And at a certain point, I was able to reach out to them and talk to them without speaking about that topic at all. AKA Perez says, it's exhausting and frustrating always taking the high ground, never being able to really express yourself, while all the time they constantly express themselves. That is true. That is true, Perez. But it also doesn't mean you have to listen. If they're going to express themselves and then not let you express yourselves, then that's going to be they're not going to get too many more times to express themselves with me. I might give you one or two, but if I find you're consistently not allowing me to express myself to you as well, if I'm not being listened to, which is a huge pet peeve of mine, because my family, I felt like they never really listened to me. So in my life, if I feel like I'm not being listened to, it doesn't work well for me. It causes me to just shut down. And I've had to, talk about that in therapy as well. But in my situation with my folks, if I were to feel like I was never listened to while they were constantly asking me to listen to them, then I would eventually have to stop talking to them for as much. I would have to curb how much I talk to them, because I know how I am. If I'm expressing, or if I feel like I'm talking and I'm not being listened to, eventually I'm just going to stop talking. That's just how I am. I'm going to just stop talking. And that's something that I'm learning to deal with. Sometimes you just have to keep pushing through shit. And it's not always easy. And it doesn't always feel good at the moment. But maybe you can keep chipping away at a wall to the point where eventually the wall comes down. Monica says, every now and then I send a text to all of them saying, I love you and I'm here if you ever need me. John Seth says, I guess there are no black and white answers and everyone should be respected for which way to go. Yeah, that's pretty much all you can do. Truth Seeker says, very hard to merge two totally different worlds. I feel like life is simple, but it might not be easy. If you truly respect and love somebody, they should be able to think completely differently from you and it not cause a problem. If you truly love and respect them, They should be able to think, you guys should be able to think completely differently from one another and still be able to love each other. I mean, if you want to go to the Bible and talk about that, Jesus was able to sit down with a hooker. I'm pretty sure they probably thought completely differently. I'm pretty sure Jesus was not going to solicit her for her services, and he probably disagreed with her line of work. But according to the Bible, he was able to sit down and have a drink with this woman. So the point is, look, what are we willing? What are we truly willing? Love, greetings, King, greetings to you. Appreciate it. What are we willing to not necessarily overlook completely, but what are we willing to not debate about in order to achieve the things we want to achieve ultimately? Because sometimes certain shit just isn't worth the debate right then. And you might want to go ahead and get that debate on. But how much can we say, okay, you know what? This is not worth a debate right now. I'm going to let this one go. It's not worth the debate. I'm going to let it go. How many of us can do that? And how many of us can choose the right situation where we need to do that? And that's where I'm trying to be now with the situation with my folks. You know, I love them. My mom's not speaking to me right now. My dad is trying to. But all I can do is sit, and at the end of the night, when I visualize all the stuff that I want to happen the next day or the next few years of my life, all I can do is visualize, you know, everything working out with my family. All I can do is visualize all the other aspects of my life working the way I want them to work, the way that I hope they'll work out. Me speaking the things I want in my life to happen. Me thinking and speaking them into existence. And me continuing to work on myself and be the best version of myself that I can be, so that I can be open to when these good things come back to me. I can be open to it and I can keep them. Because I would hate to ask for all these great things to happen, and then when they did happen, I wasn't prepared to be able to receive them properly. John, you gotta slow down when you type, man. Slow down, bro. One thing that's up to, okay, is that one? I think that's up to them. So yeah, man. How do we get the opportunity to reintroduce yourself to your family? Like, how many times, or how can we maneuver a situation where we can actually do that? Monica says it could be worse. We could still be in the organization and not know any about what's going on. Yeah. But if we have the opportunity to sit down and talk to our families, let's think about this question. If we have the opportunity to sit down and talk with our families and tell them how we feel about ourselves and who we are and what we want out of life, what would we say to them? How could we phrase our views on life and ourselves in a way that they would understand them and understand us to the point that they would still be willing to have us in their lives? And I think once we figure that out, if we can figure a way to even have the conversation to start, if we can figure out how we can talk to them and let them know how we feel about ourselves and why we did what we did, I think it's important for them to understand why we chose to leave the organization. Because I guarantee you, this past week I've had I had a conversation with my daughter, and I thought one way. I thought something was one way for the last 10, 12 years. I thought, based on my own understanding, I thought that something was happening, and I found out that it wasn't what I thought it was. And so for this whole time, I had been holding a guilt over myself and not allowing something that could have been a really beautiful experience, not allowing that experience to happen because I thought something that wasn't true. So they probably think things about us that aren't really true. They probably think we think a certain way, or they think a certain thing about us based on what they think about people who have left the organization. And it's probably not true. It's probably not true. And it's up to us to figure out a way to let them know who we really are and how we really think without them having to rely upon an incorrect assumption about how we look at life. And then we're going to have to be able to do the same thing for them, because just because we were in the organization and we know how they think, we don't know exactly how they think. We have a good idea, but we never know. I never would have thought, honestly, that my father would still reach out to me at all. That took me completely off guard. I said, I'm never going to speak to him again. And then he still reached out, So we can think we know, but we don't truly know. We never really know. Truth Seeker says that's why some of us choose to remain in the org even being fully awake. I don't think I could do that. Yeah, I know for sure I couldn't do that. I know for sure I could not do that. It's not right. Monica Landrum says it's not right to have preconceived ideas, but we all do. We all form our own ideas in our head about what is going on based on our experience and what we see. It's human nature. That's true. It's true. So we have to get to a point where we can actually have a conversation, enough of a conversation to let them know how we really feel and how we really think. And if we can get to a point where we're honest enough with them to really, really say what's on our minds, and do it from a place of love and openness and accepting our part, because believe it or not, in a relationship, when a relationship goes bad, both people have a part in it. And even with the relationship with my folks, I had a part in it going bad. I could have talked to them a long time ago. I could have sat down and said, hey, can we talk? Hey, can we have an open conversation? Hey, can I tell you how I feel about this? Hey, can I tell you how I think about that? I could have done that, but I allowed all the things that I thought, that they thought, to just say, you know what, I already know how they think, I ain't going to talk to them. And see, that was the wrong thing to do. That was the wrong thing to do. I shouldn't have allowed my assumptions, and I shouldn't have allowed the way that I felt to cause me to act a certain way without getting verification of that feeling from them. I allowed my own thoughts and my own feelings to keep me from having a conversation with my family 10 years ago that could have stopped this whole situation. And I've done that in other situations. You know, this organization has affected me in a lot of ways. It's taken a lot of things from me. You know, it's taken my family from me from a certain point. It's taken a very important relationship, a very important romantic relationship, a woman I've been with for, 10 years. It's caused lots of problems in our relationship. And, we've broken up, and I hate it. But I have to acknowledge my part in the situation, which is why, I do these in videos, because this stuff doesn't just affect us. It affects our families. It affects a lot of our relationships, because we carry that stuff into our relationships unknowingly. And when things are great, a lot of times when things are great, those problems don't materialize. But then when problems arise, that's when that shit starts to come up. When things aren't going perfectly, that's when you start in your brain going back to the other shit in your life that hasn't gone perfectly. And you start equating your past experiences with your current experiences, even if they don't have anything to do with each other. You start doing that, And so not only in the last few months have, I regained a relationship with my parents and lost a relationship, a 10-year relationship with my girlfriend. We haven't been together for 3 months, and it's been very difficult. Losing all of that at the same time, it's been very, very difficult. But hopefully at some point, I can reintroduce myself to my family. I can reintroduce myself to my ex-girlfriend. I can reintroduce myself to, even with my daughter. We had a great conversation, and we talked about some things that I never thought we would be able to talk about. And we sat down and cried together and talked, and it was literally the most beautiful experience I've ever had with my daughter, and we're going to have to be willing to reintroduce ourselves to a lot more people who knew us from the past, especially once we start to work on ourselves and change things. We have to be willing to reintroduce our new selves to these people. We may have to apologize for some of the things that we've done, some of the things that we didn't do. Sometimes we may have to just acknowledge things that we didn't think were wrong. But if we look at it from the other person's standpoint, there could be a reason why they could look at it and say that was wrong. Sometimes we're so far into our own wants and feelings of wanting to get our point across that we're unable to really see things from the other person's standpoint. Which is why I was saying, I know my parents probably felt betrayed that I left the organization. They probably feel like I thought we were going to be able to go to the Kingdom Hall all together for the rest of our lives. They probably think I thought that I would be able to look over and see my son at the Kingdom Hall for the rest of my life. They probably think all of our friends who've known you since a baby probably thought that they would be able to see you at the Kingdom Hall for the rest of their lives. And now they're probably thinking, now we go to the Kingdom Hall and everybody says, where's Keith? Where's Keith? How come we don't see Keith no more? And maybe that's embarrassing as hell to them to think that their son, they weren't able to keep their son in the organization. And now people ask where I am and they get embarrassed. Maybe they're sad as fuck too. Maybe they're just sad. Maybe they sit around thinking, damn, I wish Keith would come to the Kingdom Hall with us. But we know he's not, and that makes them sad. That's shit that we have to think about too, man. It's not just about us. It's not just about our feelings. In this relationship with our families, it's not just about our feelings. We have to be able to look at their feelings too. And we have to be able to come to a midpoint and say, I understand how you feel. I want you to understand how I feel. And can we please have some happy medium? And if not, at the very least, you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did every fucking thing I could do to fix this relationship. And if I have to walk away, I can walk away with my chest out and my head high because I did everything I could do, honestly. And there's no guilt on my conscience. Truth Seeker says, as long as the ghost of the org hovers around your family, things will always be difficult. Families are difficult when they're not in the org. I appreciate the comment, but hell, families are all difficult. Monica says, I used to believe in unconditional love. That's a whole nother, I did a video on that too. We talked about that one day too. I used to believe, that's a whole other conversation. Monica says, trust is going to be difficult, but I'm working on it. Yeah, we all are. We all are. Well, guys, I'm not going to be able to talk too much longer because I need to have my voice at some point come back to me because it's gone now. So I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation tonight. If any of you have any topics that you would like to talk about this week, let me know. I'm going to try to be on here at least another Thursday and Sunday. I'm trying to keep those 2 days. I'm going to try to have another conversation tomorrow. Different type of conversation, but we're going to make it happen. It's going to be a fun time. But I have enjoyed the conversation tonight, guys. I'm sorry my voice has not been the best. Hopefully it will heal up. Nubian sister. What's up, Nubian sister? Hey, Fitz, I feel your pain and I appreciate you too. I appreciate you too, Nubian sister. I really do. I appreciate you too, sister. So if any of you guys have any show topics or something, you can just leave them here in the chat at the end because I think it's going to run for a minute. Love says, thank you for sharing your love and encouragement. Hey, thank you for watching, Love. Monica Landrum says, go easy on yourself. Hey, I'm learning how to do that too. That's something I'm learning in therapy because I'm very, very difficult on myself. And I accept a lot of guilt. I'm trying to let that go. Exclusive Princess says, you need to bring the wine more often to these chats. I will. Great Dane says, please remember to check your email. Okay, I will check my email. Monica says, thank you for sharing your life with us. Hey, I'm going to share a whole lot more stuff with y'all in the near future. Trust me. It's a whole lot you guys don't know, but I'm going to let you know. Marbo Marsky, what's up? You came right at the end. Good job. Man, John, I'm going to need you to start slowing down when you type. Miss Bailey says, I went to drop something off to my mom. Of course, I couldn't come in. Just stood at the door for a few minutes. I had to go because she was scared my stepfather would come home, who was an elder. That's a tough situation. There's nothing you can really say about that. John says, maybe a topic could be if we are still abuse victims, since shunning is an act of psychological abuse. It's a good topic. All right, guys. Well, I am going to get out of here. I'm going to try to do several shows this week. My goal this week is to do a show a day, not just XJW stuff. XJWs will be Sundays, and I'm thinking Thursday is probably not a good day because there was very few people on Thursday. So I'm thinking maybe Sundays and Wednesdays. XJW Wednesdays, XJW Sundays. But I want to do a bunch of different topics this week. So I'm going to have some of my boys come in. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. It's going to be a cool conversation with me and my two boys, man. We're going to it's going to be really fun. So yeah, please look forward to it. I will be posting it in the community tab. Send out those notifications. Make sure that if you haven't subscribed, that you subscribe and click the bell so that you can know when I start a video. Sweeney Rod says, thanks, K-Fitz, for organizing chat. I arrived late. So yeah, guys, keep your eyes open for this week. Hopefully I can get my goal. 7:30, aka Perez. 7:30. 7:30. I'm gonna try to have a show tomorrow, John Seth. I don't know what it's gonna be about yet. It's not gonna be an XJW topic. It's gonna be a whole nother segment that I'm starting. I'm trying to start a few different segments on different days of the week. It's snowing and sleeting out here. So yeah, I'm gonna try to have one tomorrow night. It's gonna be a different one, so it should be a cool conversation if it goes the way I plan. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you so much for listening. Miss Bear says, can you send out an alert before the show starts? Then I can set an alert. Well, see, if you click the bell, YouTube is supposed to automatically do it, and sometimes it doesn't. So I'll try to. Great Dane is Central Time Zone. I'm in the Central Time Zone, so 7:30 Central Time. So sometimes YouTube doesn't do it. I'll try to maybe send something out in the community tab, maybe an hour or so before the show starts, so you guys can know. As long as you subscribe, as long as you subscribe to the channel, when I send something to the community tab, it should come to your phone or your desktop or however you have it. So I'll try to do that too before maybe an hour. I'll send a reminder or something. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching tonight. I'm sorry about my voice. Hopefully it'll be better tomorrow. And I'm trying to start a Monday show called Minority Report Mondays that talks about issues of minorities. And so hopefully tomorrow I can have a show where I'm having a conversation about some minority-related issues. So we will see how that goes tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching tonight, and I will see you all on the next one, all right? I'll see you soon. Peace.